This is the course that they'll be taking. The national course. They'll jump 4 before they go out on a circuit of another 14. This race won last year by Haut, so jumping a total of 18 fences. And let's check these runners and riders for the big one today. Number 1 is Colca Canyon, Robert Power. 2, Impact, Jim Cullity, wearing the famous Jim Lewis best mate colours. Number 3, Turgenev, David Amira. 4 is El Capone, Noel Feely. 5, Libertine, Sam Whaley-Cohen, who claims the 7 and had a confidence-boosting win yesterday on Catarino over these fences. Number 6 is Leduc, Ruby Walsh. 7, John James, Ken Whelan. 8 is Juveneur, Mick Fitzgerald. 9, Longshanks, JP McNamara. 10, Historic, Jason Maguire. 11, Eau de Gamme is Keith Mercer, claiming the 3. 12, Winning Dream, Tony McCoy, stepping in for Paul Carberry. He's not riding today. He aggravated an old injury yesterday, but booked, of course, to take his place in the National tomorrow. 13 is Where Are You Now, Carl Llewellyn. 14, Wayne Mountain, Wayne Hutchinson. 15, Present Blur is the mount of James Davis. 16, Better Days, red distinguishing cap, Dominic Ellsworth. 17, Over the First, Tony Dobbin. 18, Swansea Bay. A change of colours here if you're watching. Dark blue with light blue sleeves and a quartered cap. Andrew Thornton taking the ride. 19 is Be My Better Half, Conor O'Dwyer. 20 is Knocked Down, Richard Johnson. 21, Wild Tempo, Tom Scudamore, who wear a distinguishing royal blue cap. That's to separate him from 15, Present Blur. 22, Spring Margot, Christian Williams. 23, It's Only Me, Sam Thomas. 24, Cregg, House, Davy Russell. Slight change of colour there. 1 over he is as well. 25 is Adami's Sean Fox. 26, Roller Paul Maloney. 27, Rathborne, Prince Tom Doyle. 28, Munster, Danny Howard, claiming the 3. Number 29, Hertzov, is Brian Harding. And 30, Boys Hurrah, Graham Lee. They're the 30 runners. This time he's got a better line, and away they go. Right there, and all at the back of the field. Swansea Bay is reared high and is refusing to race. Takes no part, Swansea Bay, as they head over the first down. They're all over safely. Spring Margot in the centre. Hertzov is one of the first away. It's Only Me is there with Better Days, and Boys Hurrah just behind them as they come now to the second. El Capone is very prominent as well. Be My Better Half over on the far side, and in behind them Colca Canyon. Further back then Leduc, followed by Impact, who takes up an inside position. They're followed by Historic and Longshanks as wide as they head now towards the chair. And it's Better Days who leads over it from Be My Better Half. The faller back in the field there. The faller is over the first as they head now towards the water. And the leader, Better Days, on the outside of Be My Better Half. In third, Spring Margot. Fourth is El Capone, all over the water safely. It's Only Me is next, followed by Hertzov and Longshanks and Colca Canyon behind them. Further back then, out very deep, is Surprise Blur. In behind them, John James, followed by Impact and Historic and Turgenev from Leduc and Wayne Mountain. Where Are You Now is further back. They're followed next by Juveneur in centre field. They're followed by Winning Dream and Cregg House, and further back then is Rathborne Prince. Well back in the field then is Knocked Down, followed by Libertina. Damies is there from Munster. Well out the back is Wild Tempo and company there with Eau de Gamme and Royal Telsa as we join Ian Bartlett.
So they come over fence number 5 with the red cap. Better Days is the leader over that one. Royal Telsa and Hadamas are right at the back of the field. Another plain one, Better Days from Be My Better Half, Spring Margot, Boys Hurrah, Al Capone in the orange and green down the centre as they come over it now. Then Longshanks up on the outside with Present Blur. Royal Telsa was the back marker there. The big ditch, Better Days from Be My Better Half. Then Spring Margot, Better Days out jumped by Be My Better Half. They're getting over it now. Royal Telsa, only just at the back of the field. Racing down to the next plain one, Be My Better Half leads on the outside of Better Days. Spring Margot, Longshanks behind these from Al Capone. Then Impact in the light blue sleeves is making progress, and as they race to the next, it's over to Tony O'Hare.
One to jump before they get to Beechers, and on the inside Be My Better Half and Spring Margot. And Better Days, mistake by Spring Margot. We've lost her with that one. Present Blue was a faller. as they continue now towards Beecher's Brook, and it's Be My Better Half and Better Days. Towards the outside, the Great Turgenev, then Impact just behind them with Longshanks and Spring Margot. At Beecher's, Be My Better Half the leader. A mistake over it by Turgenev. We've lost one there. Spring Margot was down, and another faller back in the field was Historic. As they come on now to the Foynaven fence, Be My Better Half on the inside, Better Days. Turgenev the grey, Impact in the stripes. Longshanks just behind them, and Cregg House making ground two. A gap back to John James of about 3 lengths. Then it's Only Me. Behind these Juvenaire, and then Colca Canyon as they go to the canal turn. Better Days on the inside of Be My Better Half, Impact on the inside, and then comes Longshanks as they go out over the canal. Mistake back in the field by Al Capone as they go to Valentine's. Better Days, Impact, Longshanks, Be My Better Half, Turgenev and Cregg House, followed by John James as we join Darren Owen.
Coming on to the next plain fence, and on the inside it's Better Days with the red cap. Longshanks in the centre. Al Capone has been pulled up as they come onto this plain fence. Then red cap of Better Days the inside. Longshanks down the centre. Cregg House is getting into the argument. Impact is hunting up the pace. Be My Better Half still on the premises. On the wide outside is the grey Turgenev. Wayne Mountain is in mid-division. Juvenaire is next. Wild Tempo's being pulled up. The jump in the last open ditch. And it's Better Days and Longshanks being pressed by Cregg House. And then further back to Impact, it's Only Me, Turgenev and Be My Better Half. Break then of a few lengths to Leduc is being driven along as they come on towards the third last. And it's Better Days and Longshanks. Cregg House is hunting them up. Then Impact and Turgenev. They're the leading bunch. It's Only Me is pushed along in behind these. Then there's a gap to Leduc, followed by Munster. Wayne Mountain, Juvenaire is under immense pressure. They cross the Melling Road. They've only got 2 fences left to jump, and Better Days and Longshanks are vying for the glory ahead of Impact, Turgenev. It's Only Me over to Jim McGrath.
Well, Better Days out in front here for Dominic Ellsworth, who's picked up a last-minute ride in the National tomorrow with that Native Emperor being declared. Longshanks in second place, then in third, then is Impact, followed by Turgenev. Just behind them is Leduc as they turn in, followed then by Munster, then Eau de Gamme on the outside. Any number in with a chance now as they head up towards the second last. It's anybody's race here as Longshanks with a big noseband draws alongside Better Days. They jump it together. Now starting to run on is Impact, followed then by Cregg House. In behind them Eau de Gamme, and then Leduc, followed by Munster as they've got 1 left to jump now. Longshanks there with a noseband with Better Days, but they're out jumped by Impact and Cregg House. It's Cregg House and Impact who sweep through to take it up. Eau de Gamme is fighting on, followed by Longshanks, and also Leduc is starting to join in as they come towards the elbow. It's Cregg House though has gone 2 lengths in front. Eau de Gamme has now switched to the outside, running on well, followed by Longshanks, Impact and Leduc. Cregg House though finding a bit extra. 100 yards left to go. It's Cregg House who's holding on here for Davy Russell. Cregg House comes up towards the line to win the Topham. From in second Eau de Gamme. A gap then of 6 lengths or so. Leduc in third, followed by Longshanks, Impact, then Munster. Further back, where are you now? Wayne Mountain, then Better Days, followed then by Winning Dream and Colca Canyon. Behind them is It's Only Me. Then Juvenaire, who couldn't get into it at all, followed by Libertine, then follows Boys Hurrah. Hadami's as well back. So too then is Knocked Down, then Rathborn Prince, followed by Turgenev, Be My Better Half, Hertzov, and last to finish is John James. Well, there is the winner. Cregg House, ridden by Davy Russell, has got the money here, and what a triumph it is too. Cregg House, 50 to 1 the winner. A long shot gets it. Second is number 11, Eau de Gamme, ridden by Keith Mercer, and third is number 6, Leduc, ridden by Ruby Walsh. Fourth, number 9, Longshanks, ridden by J.P. McNamara.
Amazingly, look, you just saw on the left of the picture there Swansea Bay saying no thanks, don't want to do it.
Yeah, refused to race even before he saw a fence.
And doesn't that just show you how all the fences are at an angle across the course?
Yeah, and in the early stages, it's the like of Al Capone, Be My Better Half and Better Days that are prominent.
Yeah, but you look at Conor O'Dwyer up the inner. He scraped the paint off the rails all the way, you know.
Yeah, he did a super ride from this horse. Gave the horse a super ride. He actually helped them. That's just going over the second. They went a hell of a gallop, but thankfully no faller so far.
And by the time we got to the chair, which is the first of the larger obstacles that they face, it was Better Days who led over that fence. And we did lose one. We lost over the first at this fence.
And Al Capone's in the middle of those leading 3. He's got our rider camera on, which hits the dust later.
Yes, he certainly does. Al Capone made a few mistakes, but Better Days is the one that puts himself right for that. We do lose over the first of the back. That's clear and seat, but nothing at all that his rider could have done anything about that. Poor old Tony Dobbin was catapulted out the saddle there.
Yes, you might get a better shot of it here. I think the horse just dropped. There you go, dropped his back in straight into the ditch. And actually, if people remember, Takaji did exactly the same thing to Davy Russell, who in last year's National, and it's amazing he come back and win this race.
Now, Dominic Ellsworth's up front on better days in the red cap. Trevor Hemmings has 2 runners in this race, of course, Juvenia, the other one. Look at the red cap here, and better days pricking his ears. There he goes, correcting himself. And JP McManus's colours, My Better Half, on the inside of him.
Impact just gone over, bang down the inside, and he travelled super for a long way, probably just a little bit too much weight.
As you predicted, he really did take to his task, didn't he?
Well, a view from the top here. Now, time to gather your thoughts, isn't it?
Yeah, heading towards the water, the smallest obstacle that they're facing. And Better Days, he's really loving. He's a natural front runner, but he really was quite exuberant. He's run over these fences before, of course, last year, finished 8th.
Yep. And Spring Margot's bang up there, you know. Spring Margot, Christian Williams on board, getting a big ride from him.
And at the back, the grey Royal Tales are just beginning to detach himself, and he's the first one to be completely out of it. And the winner just jumping it there was Cregg House and Davy Russell. Well, quite at the back in the early stages.
But, you know, as we talked earlier, it's horses for courses. There is no right way to ride this sort of race. It's according to your horse.
Yep. So out they go for a full circuit then of the fences, and it's Better Days pretty prominent. And
they're not as spread out here in this professional race as the Fox Hunters yesterday across the course.
No, a lot of these jockeys nowadays tend to go down the inside. Since the fences have been slightly modified, a lot braver men bang down the inside, more of a drop on the inside, but Be My Better Half down the inside, Conor Dwyer just running a little bit keen. You can see a few of the horses staying wide outside, Turgenev, Longshanks with the noseband. Just inside him it's only me, jumping the first down here.
And the 2 greys on the inside by the rail, that's Hersov, and nearest to us is Turgenev, and now the 3rd grey coming, Royal Tales.
You really get an idea of what it's like to be one of those fences being crashed over by 30 horses.
Both Norman and I have known that feeling.
Luckily, I have not. Well, unluckily, more like.
But what a big jump there from on the inside to Conor Dwyer. Isn't it great, Norman, when your horse is coming for you, coming up? And
yeah, this is a great feeling for any jockey. They're now beginning to settle down. Better Days, there he goes. Absolutely perfect. Shortened, clever as you like. A few mistakes from the runners in the midfield there, but nothing. Again, that was the first big ditch, and nothing fell.
There was a slight nod on landing from Spring Margot, who's currently in 3rd place at the previous fence there. And he makes a number of mistakes.
Again there.
I think he goes eventually at Beechers, but he was just getting lower and lower and taking chances, and you eventually paid a penalty.
Keep an eye on Spring Margot here, again in 3rd, because there's a really good recovery, and this almost goes out of the saddle, doesn't he, Christian Williams? And there's Present Bleu going. That's the fall of Present Bleu.
Oh, and the horse treading on top of him.
I can see Conor Dwyer here and Be My Better Half running very keen with him, and he's just trying to get him back and get him back on his hocks and up in the air a little bit. There you see Spring Margot almost go, great recovery.
And in the back there is Present Bleu taking his fall, catapulting James Davis out of the saddle. Peter Scudamore, who of course trains the horse, says that the horse is fine. Present Bleu is fine.
You'll just get a shot of Cregg House, the winner, in about 6th or 7th place down the inside with the red and black colours. And he's really got the ideal position, Richard.
Yeah, and what we saw there, Conor Dwyer looking across to Dominic Ellsworth, actually discussing its Beechers coming up.
And this is where Spring Margot makes his final mistake, just takes off far too far and pitches, and there's nothing that Christian Williams can do about it. He's out of the saddle after a series of mistakes, and also at the rear, Historic as well, also takes a fall.
Yeah, Jason Maguire hitting the deck there. No way back from that, I'm afraid. Going up the inner, but some way back, is Where Are You Now, you know. He's made a few mistakes early.
There's Turgenev in the grey nodding on landing. Behind him, Spring Margot going, and... Oh, who's that getting badly hampered there by Historic out the back there?
It is Boys Hurrah, I think.
It's actually Libertine.
Oh, is it?
No, yes, it's Libertine,
so
yeah.
Young Sam Whaley-Cohen actually did well.
Al Capone, this surely must be, isn't it? They're just behind Impec. And Spring Margot. Oh, that was Spring Margot and Christian Williams going. What a shot.
You can really see the speed that poor Christian hit the floor there, dearie me. And then...
Smallest fence on the track, and it's actually a very tricky fence. So they run a little bit downhill, Richard, and they... You know, if the canal turn coming up, you want to skim the corner, but you also want to get yourself balanced and running towards the next. But all the runners at this stage jumping well, and I think when you get to this point of the race, you're pretty certain you're going to get round.
Now, the eventual winner is the Chestnut on the inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth at this place, just following. See how they cut across for the corner. The rail has helped them push out so they can cut across.
And the winner really has taken the shortest route there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's just right up the inside. There's a small mistake by Al Capone at the back. He's already fading at this point at the canal turn. He seems to be going straight on. And also Royal Italza pulled and seats at our next.
But you know, Valentine's always jumps well. It's sort of the opposite side of the brook to Beaches, but it always jumps well for some reason.
So we're heading towards fence 14.
See, better days on the inside. Longshanks and Be My Better Half this side. Cregg Haut just jumping now, and Impact on the inside. And there's the eventual second, just jumping towards this side is Haut the Gamme. And he's a long way back at this point.
We also lose Wild Tempo at this point. The stablemate of Présent Bleu, Wild Tempo, is pulled up.
Fergus Wilson with a runner in the National tomorrow, of course. But what we will see very shortly, look, nearest to the camera, just going through to the right, is the eventual second. Now, Keith Mercer is sitting, holding a fair bit. It's his intention to come late and hold the horse up.
Yeah, and I think he was also probably hampered by the faller at Beechers. You know, he was a long way back, but it probably didn't make any difference to him. But he did have the brains to sit and let his horse get warmed up all the way. You know, he was there when it mattered.
Well, there's a battle starting now up front, and at this stage you'd have a job to name the winner, because there's still quite a few going well.
A lot of horses with chances, and a lot of horses with a lot of pace, as in Cregg Haut and Impact, and they're all waiting just to play their cards right. Davy Russell on the winner, Cregg Haut, wouldn't want to hit the front. He hates being in front, and the same as Impact.
And one of the early prominent runners, Be My Better Half, made a mistake. He was going backwards at the time, weakening. He made a mistake at that fence, but Better Days still in front. Longshanks last year's second, making a challenge. Impact coming through in the best snake colours. Also on the outside, the grey Turgenev. It's Only Me on the inside, and at the back, the eventual winner of that group of 6, Cregg Haut.
You know It's Only Me. Look at the cross belts on the inside of Merle Davies. He's a horse that pulls up, for whatever reason, I don't know whether he bleeds or what, but he's run a big race here.
He's run a cracking race, and just coming on his outside between the winner and him is Ruby Walsh and Leduc. He's also given him a fantastic ride, crept there at the right time, but heading towards the second last, a whole host of horses in with a chance, and Better Days still in front from a long way out, and Longshanks heading for the second last. Impact just behind. Ruby is creepy on the inside, and Leduc, and Cregg Haut comes to this side.
Davy Russell got a super jump there off the winner in 4th place. Davy, of course, who came over to ride in England for Ferdy Murphy, but back home in Ireland now. Back home
now in Ireland, riding a lot of Edward O'Grady's horses and doing really well, and this will have done his confidence the world of good. Jockeys now are thinking when they're coming here, which, well done to Davy Russell again. He's thinking of the elbow, a long way ahead of him, and he's just coming gradually towards this side to get his angle right for the elbow.
Another angle of that. And Impact and Cregg Haut rise together, but Cregg Haut gets away more neatly, and as Norman was saying, steers the better course between there and the finishing line.
But you know, Impact has got 11-11 on his back. That is a tremendous run.
He fades in the closing stages, probably just feeling the effect of that big burden, to see all the stragglers coming through in the rear. 22 finishes we had.
Well, the ground is good, you would expect it, and if it stays like this for the National tomorrow, we're hoping for a similar result, aren't we?
Yes, heading off up the run in here, and a lonely place for a jockey in front, Richard, isn't it? You know, you think that winning post is never going to come. The second horse is coming at him. Impact and Leduc ran on and stayed going well, and Longshanks has just ran out of it close home. But Cregg Haut, I think, when we'll see a different shot, was just pricking a ear, and he was sparing a little bit.
But looking at Longshanks, the big noseband on the inside, do you think that the National further distance would be in his favour if he were able to get in?
I do, and I wouldn't be afraid to fancy him for it next year, because he wouldn't have to make as much use of him, and he jumps super, and obviously enjoys these fences. But today was Cregg Haut's day, and he was super.
Well, that was the winner, but there is Cregg Haut.
And look at
and
the
Haut
grimace.
on the outside.
Look at the grimace on Keith Mercer's face there. You know, every ounce. And Davy, cool as a cucumber, is number 1.
He's really enjoying that. He deserved it. Cregg Haut deserved that pat that he got there. And here we are, another look at it. Ruby Walsh just not getting there in time on Leduc, and it's between Haut de Gamme and the winner, Cregg Haut, who refused at the 27th a couple of years ago, but is the winner of the Topham in 2005.